What if the people of Arizona disagreed with the law or wanted to create a new one? In Arizona, citizens have a constitutional way to take that issue directly to the voters. Hello, everyone. My name is Bijuana. I'm a graduate candidate at Grand Canyon University. Today, I will be discussing the initiative and referendum process in Arizona and how these two processes support direct democracy. Direct democracy is the idea that citizens should have a direct role in making decisions that affect their government and communities. In Arizona, the state constitution specifically reserves powers to the people, including the power to propose laws and constitutional amendments and to approve or reject certain laws passed by the legislator. First, an initiative is a process that allows Arizona voters to propose a new law, amend an existing law, or propose an amendment to the Arizona Constitution. In simple terms, an initiative allows citizens to say, "We want to create or change this law." Citizens begin the process by creating a proposal and collecting signatures from qualified voters. If they collect enough valid signatures, the proposal can be placed on the ballot for voters to decide. A referendum, on the other hand, allows voters to approve or reject a law that has been passed by the Arizona legislator. A simple way to remember the difference is that an initiative is generally used to propose something new or make a change, while a referendum is used to challenge or approve legislation that the legislature has already passed. Now, let's look at how this process works. For an initiative, an individual or organization first develops the proposed law or constitutional amendment. The sponsor must then establish the appropriate political committee and file an application for a serial number with the Arizona Secretary of State's office. After receiving the appropriate petition, supporters can begin collecting signatures from eligible voters. The petitions are then submitted to the Secretary of State's office, where the signatures are processed to determine whether enough valid signatures have been collected. Arizona has different signature requirements depending on the type of initiative. For a statutory initiative, the requirement is 10% of qualified electors. For a constitutional initiative, the requirement is 15%. For example, during the 2026 election cycle, Arizona required 255,949 signatures for a statutory initiative. The referendum process is similar because supporters also have to create a petition, receive a serial number, collect signatures, and submit those signatures to the Secretary of State. However, there is an important difference. I'll go that R word again. A referendum concerns legislation that has already been passed by the legislator. Arizona requires petitions to be submitted within 90 days after the legislator adjourns sine die for the session in which the legislation was passed. For the 2026 election cycle, the signature requirement is 127,975 signatures. If enough valid signatures are collected, the measure can go before voters on the ballot. There are several similarities between initiatives and referendums. First, both give citizens a direct voice in government. Both involve petition drives and require supporters to collect a certain number of signatures from qualified voters. Both are also reviewed by election officials before they can appear on the ballot. However, there is an important difference between the two. An initiative starts with the citizens proposing a new law or change. A referendum starts with legislation that has already passed by the legislature, and citizens can cause referendum process to ask voters to approve or reject legislation. So I will remember it in this way. Initiative equals I want to create or change laws. Referendum equals I want the people to decide whether the law should take effect. There are advantages and disadvantages when it comes to both. One major advantage of initiatives is that they give citizens the opportunity to address issues that lawmakers may not address. Instead of waiting for the legislator to act, citizens can organize around an issue and bring it directly to voters. However, one disadvantage is that collecting a large number of signatures required can be difficult. It can also take a significant amount of time and money to organize a great initiative campaign. Referendums also have advantages. One major advantage is that they give citizens a way to check the power of the legislature. If citizens strongly disagree with the law that has been passed, they have a process of bringing that issue directly to voters. A disadvantage would be there's very strict deadlines. Supporters have only a limited amount of time to collect the required signatures about the legislative adjournments. Like initiatives, referendums can also require a significant organization, funding, and public support. Finally, they're both very important because they demonstrate the concept of a direct democracy. The Arizona Constitution reserves power to the people. Article 5, Part 1, Section 1 specifically recognizes the people's power to propose laws and constitutional amendments through the initiative process and to approve or reject legislative acts through the referendum process. This is important because citizens are not limited to simply electing representatives and allowing those representatives to make every decision. Arizona voters can directly participate in the lawmaking process. For example, through an initiative, citizens can propose a change themselves. Through the other one, citizens can have a direct say about legislation passed by their elected representative. In conclusion, they both are important parts of Arizona's democratic system. The initiative allows citizens to propose new laws or change, while the other one allows citizens to approve or reject certain legislations passed by the legislature. Thank you so much for listening.